Welcome everyone to the Empath X community call. So glad to be here. I am really glad to share that we've got a bunch of resources for you over at empathx.org. There's our schedule, there's our archive. You can join a Facebook group, make a contribution, and every week we rotate out between our wonderful core team in facilitating these beautiful community conversations. And this week we have none other than our beautiful, wonderful friend Doug, who's going to be leading us into a really exciting conversation I'm looking forward to. So glad to have you here, Doug. I mean, again, welcome to it. Anyway, whatever. Okay, take over, Doug. The mic's
All
yours,
right,
buddy.
I'm here.
Here he is.
I had the fun this week of watching a video that I'm going to share with you in a minute that had to do with the moon. And the moon has been a part of our existence and life. It's been ever present, uh, and we also, many of us, are aware that there are questions about the moon. And so the topic today is to use this as an example of things that uh, are changing in our world. Our awareness is changing. Our information is coming in huge waves for us to adjust all the things we know and believe. And so I want to start the conversation with the fun I had with this particular idea about the moon. But the bigger question is what else is alive in your life that wants you want more information about, or is important for this time. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I I want to start the conversation here with this picture story about the moon, but I really want to carry it further and have a conversation afterwards about other things that might be similar in their impact.
Hmm.
So I want to share with you what I saw, and the presentation is from Beach. Oh, there it is.
Michio Kaku.
Okay, Michio Kaku. And I think I'm going to get it back to somehow. You're sharing a screen. I don't know how to do this. Okay, I'll share.
You might have to stop sharing, Doug, and then go back and pick the different screen.
Okay, screen is paused. Well, I may not be smart enough to do this.
We'll make it through, Doug. Yeah, if
I know we will. It's okay. Well, may or may not work, but
well you had it on Safari last time. Can you
uh,
is there a different tab that opens up for Safari?
I've got it up. You want me to share screen and show it?
sure. If that will, I've got it. Let me. Yeah, I keep trying to hit the buttons, but uh, yeah, I'm not hitting the right ones apparently.
Karen, can you take over sharing or does Doug have to stop first?
I think he has to stop.
That's what I thought too.
Okay.
Yeah, so just go up to that top middle and hit stop sharing so Karen can share that video.
Okay. Stop sharing. I did that. Cancel. Okay. No, I'm not trying to.
Okay, there
Okay, here we go.
If at first you don't succeed.
we go.
Okay, how's that look?
Is that, oh yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Okay,
okay. Is this
Yeah, that's a different video. That's a 2-minute video.
That's not the right one. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Did he send you that one?
He did, but it's on my phone. So
that's okay. Well, let me just tell the story. You don't need Michio Kaku. I can tell the story anyway. And the fact is, they've discovered and uh, something that's been troubling to the science world for a long time. Because about 20 years ago, as we were going to the moon and coming back from the moon and doing things, they're the NASA decided to crash a satellite into the moon, or and their purpose was uh, to measure the resonance of the crash. And what happened stunned them because when the satellite crashed, what happens, the moon began to ring like a bell for about an hour. And I remember hearing about it, a long time ago, but nothing got put away and nothing was going on with it. Michio Kaku was in this video was sharing the tears of of struggle because they simply don't understand the truth of what the moon is. The moon, they've used their new satellites and they've discovered basically the moon is hollow. And the moon is not what we think it is. And what we have is a deep areas of void inside the structure that makes no sense if it were something. But I'm struggling with words, but I'll walk through it. The idea is simple. The moon is not what we thought it was, and there's absolute evidence of what they have stand is that uh, the construction is actually a construction. They can see the construction inside the what we call the moon, and being hollow as it is, it is placed where it is in between the sun, and of all the planets in the world, there's only one where the moon actually is perfectly placed to separate to two. That there's a reason to understand that moon was placed there, and that is going to bring up a lot of questions of who could have engineered and placed something that precisely. And when you go back to the ancient lessons, many of the ancient civilizations have information in their history about before the moon was present. So somehow through, I've heard that stuff before, but it never became real to me because it was just people talking. But once you realize the moon is artificial and was placed where it is, and it's really beautiful science and amazing what it's done to control tides and to make this a more habitable planet. And uh, but we are at the time where things that have been uh, we knew about. Obviously, the moon is rock. Obviously, the moon is a big ball of something that used to be on the Earth. And whatever belief system, we have belief systems that are guiding our observations, and the moon's not the only one.
Mm.
And it just seemed like a good topic for conversation to look at the things we take for granted that are probably illusions rather than the truth. And so that's a terrible job. Michio Kaku, by all means, please share with Brian so he can watch too. It's just fun to see the science world say they don't know. We don't have a clue. We've got metal inside the moon. We've got structures inside the moon. We've got, things we can see from our satellites, and it makes no sense, and they can't talk about it because what are people going to do with that information?
Yeah.
When you when you show people that the moon is an artificial construct, what are they going to do with that information? And to me, what's obvious is, okay, well, let's go to figure out who put it there, or ask them what they were thinking about, or what. But there are a lot of things like that in the world right now, and it just seems like a great time for us to be aware as we observe, because that's the essence of my lifetime as a teacher, is the slow grind of learning to how to observe.
Mm.
And the truth is, I am probably not very good at it, and I've probably never been very good at it. But the great things I have discovered have come from that one thing: learning to observe rather than react. And so, what other are there any? The, uh, uh, I realize that we missed the video, but at the same time, you get the idea that the moon is not what we've been programmed to believe it was. And what are some other things that, from your experience, whether it doesn't have to be in astronomy, but what other things have you
I'll,
seen or
I'll
that
jump in.
lend the conversation?
Yeah, I'll jump in and I'll keep it in space as well. I loved that video. I watched it and seen some similar discussions around all of the discoveries around the moon that are just bringing up more questions about what's really going on. Another
Mhm.
one is Nassim Haramein talking about dark matter and the uh, vortexes in the space and the midst of cells being the same mathematics that happen on a great big scale like the universe. And there's just some really like you said, some big perspective shifting theories about the way that we understand how things work, like all this stuff you talk about with this moon. It's like, oh, we thought it was this thing, and now it's like, gosh, this is quite exact how this moon out there is so perfect, and it does all these things for us. Like, I love what you bring it back to. It's like, yeah, maybe it was race of aliens, or maybe it was just a random chaos. It just happens to be this, one of however many in the universe. But either way, like you said, it comes back to we have this opportunity to come into observation, to learn, to not be like, oh, I think I know so much. Like the thing with Nassim Haramein is that there's this math that now proves that the universe, like we think about the Big Bang, is all of these planets and stars that are forming over millions and billions of years that are all moving away from it. Like they blew up and they're all running away from each other. He's like, no, the math actually says they're static. It's the space in between them that's growing. I mean, talk about mind blowing. Talk about like how that shifts your perspective of it. It's like there's a subtle difference that dark matter is expanding, right? The vortexes are growing bigger. It's not this thing is moving away from this thing.
Yeah.
Space is it's just like these like all those sorts of beautiful things that we're learning more about that I think is really exciting. That's as with the micro as so with the macro.
Well, there's some wonderful stuff. Go,
Yeah.
Brian.
See you, Brian. Thanks for dropping in, buddy. Karen, Janist, does that bring up anything for y'all to share? What are you learning about the
It
world?
it it does for me, but I'm going to bring it like down to if that's the macro level, I'm going to bring it down to the micro and to the really personal, which is when I was growing up, I grew up in a neighborhood where, everybody was in each other's business, right? And the moms, mostly stay-at-home moms, talked to each other and they talked about their husbands and they talked about their histories and they talked about stuff. And at some point when I was growing up, I realized that I had heard a lot of things about the other families on the block that I don't know if the members of the family knew.
Wow.
And I wonder that all the time. It's like my knowledge of what was going on in this family, like, the woman who was having an affair, who used to ask my mom to pick up her kid from school so that she could have another 20 minutes with, it's like, do those kids ever know? Did they ever find out that this was happening? I know stuff about this woman. I'm not in touch with them. I'm not in touch with the kids, 50 years ago. But I know stuff that went on in their families that could change their whole perception of their childhoods and their family dynamics and all of that kind of stuff. That
Mm.
was not the only one. So that's just something I think about from time to time. And I wonder if there were things that other people knew about my family that I don't know that would change my perspective
I'll be.
of what my reality is or was.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
that Karen.
That's actually an excellent share because it, we all have instances of mystery around us or pretend mystery, but I think most of our mysteries really are pretend. Uh,
Mm,
I think we have the ability to know whatever it's helpful to know,
mm,
and often there are a lot of things we'd prefer not to know.
yeah, right. Man. Well, Karen, that is so like point on point. Like what Doug's saying, like the way that most people just don't want to know. They want to go back to their comfort. They want to go back to
Mhm.
the known. They want to go back to the former thing that's easy to predict how to behave and how to get along instead of like really asking questions and doing the hard work and having hard conversations, right?
Mhm.
And the truth is, if we were just reacting authentically in the moment to whatever was going on, none of that stuff matters anyway,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our history, our upbringing, all of that stuff, our conditioning, we can leave behind at any moment if we choose to.
Well, this we're in a soup or a, a pot. We're being stirred right now, and my hope for all of us is we use our gift of laughter and uh, and I've learned to take myself self less seriously. And
Mm.
I think that's a pattern that it will be helpful to a lot of people is to laugh more as we discover and quickly share more when you have awakenings or new information.